welcome back to another episode with Con Todo de Todo with HSI Excellence. Today's segment is going to be a Consejos de mis coaches, and today I am joined by two other success coaches with the program. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yes, I'm Samantha Hernandez Gagiola. I've been with the program since 2020 when it was Excel. Now it's HSI Excellence. I'm currently a success coach, and I am an alumni with EMCC. I got my associates in arts, and now currently a student at EMCC as well with the nursing program, and a student at NAU.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Maria Villalon. I'm a current success coach with HSI Excellence. I was a first-generation student, and I graduated from ASU with a bachelor's in psychology.
Nice. And I'm Alejandra. I am also a success coach with the program. I am an EMCC and PC alumni. I graduated from Estrella with my associates in arts in 2019, and then my associates in applied science from Phoenix College in 2019, and then I graduated with my bachelor's degree in 2022 in interior design. And now we're all here. So for today's topic, we want to talk about some tips and tricks that we used along the way to build for or prep for a successful semester. So let's reminisce a little bit. What was it like for you, like prepping for a semester? Like, what were the first thoughts that came to you when a new semester was starting, or even your first semester?
For my first semester, I kind of always grabbed an agenda, grabbed my syllabus, and prepared in that way. Knew what when we were going to take tests, knew kind of when to talk to this professor, kind of like see where we're going. That's mostly how I prepared for the first week. Syllabus and an agenda.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would take my syllabus, I would fill out my planner. I would try to make it cute just so it wouldn't feel so overwhelming.
Right.
But yeah, that was basically what I did.
Yeah. I didn't think I would be a student that ended up using a syllabus, to be honest. But after my first semester, I saw how useful it really was. And what I would start doing is the first week, or prepping for the first week, when it would pop up on Canvas, I would download it, print it, hole punch it, and put it in a folder. And that kind of eliminated the use of an actual agenda. I thought I would be an agenda person until I realized I don't have the time to sit and fill it out and make it all pretty. But I can color code a lot of things. So that's what I would do a lot. And then throughout the semester, it was easy to kind of check off what I did get done, and I could go from one folder to another folder. So how did you guys how did you guys use your syllabus?
So my syllabus, I would just get down on a table, I would take 4 classes in a semester. So I would put it, let's say 4 right here, and then I would get done with one subject, and then just basically checklist. Yeah, basically.
So I was the agenda person for sure. I needed one. I don't know, looking at just not blank, but just papers didn't work for me. So like I said, I did the whole thing of making it cute and pretty, and then it just helped me kind of in my head prepare for the workload of classes for sure. Yeah, writing down okay, this class has another assignment, or this class has weekly assignments and things like that really helps me prepare. I think even now with work weekly, I have to go and write out what I'm doing every day to see what's going to take up most of my time.
Yeah, I wanted to use an agenda in that way for the longest time, but like I said, I couldn't find myself time to sit and actually work on it. So what I ended up using was my Google calendars. And if you didn't know, you as a student have access to Google Suites for free. And one of your features is the Google Calendar. But another thing that I later on found out, and then I would start to tell students to use it too, and then they were like, gosh, thank you for telling me, was taking the link from my Canvas calendar, putting it into my Google Calendar. And then that way, I didn't like having notifications from Canvas pop up on my phone, but Google Calendars was a little different. So I would have all of my assignments already on my Google Calendar thanks to Canvas. And then that way I could also use the calendar to just kind of okay, I'm going to do focus time. I'm going to use this time to work on the homework for this next class. I could check things off as a task, but I could also color coordinate it, which was really fun. So that's digital is an option, and it's there.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think now I have less time now that I'm working.
Yeah.
And I do the digital agenda stuff now a lot more than like I can't sit down and like color coordinate things and put stickers and do doodles and everything. But I think it goes to show everybody works differently.
Yes.
What works for one person won't necessarily work for the other.
And then you change as well, like as a student. At first, like you might have all the time because if all you're doing is going to school, you'll have the time to sit down and plan everything out. But then as time progresses and things start to get more intense and then life starts to build, you're like, I need something a little bit more quicker.
Yeah.
And the digital stuff does end up helping. You can always go back to like an agenda at the end of the day, because then sometimes I would end up using it, or like sticky notes everywhere. But yeah, I would do them. That's good. You know, what do you end up changing?
You do. Yeah.
When you would go and like buy supplies for, you know, back to school, which is usually like the funnest thing that students think about. I get to go buy new notebooks and folders and pens and pencils and stuff. That's one thing, right? But then also buying the materials that they're asking you for. What are some things that you would do to kind of prep yourself in that aspect?
I feel like I would just choose, because my textbooks, most were science. So I would look at Facebook groups. I would look at Check, and then kind of compare which one was the cheapest and see, also speak with your professor if that's an addition that they are willing to take. So I wouldn't just buy it in impulse, but I would just be like, hey, can I use this before I even buy it? So I would go for the cheapest route.
Yeah.
Because as students, most of us are pretty broke.
We gotta find, what's the saying? Like, we gotta do orders a little bit and like save money in some areas. Textbooks were definitely where I would want to save my money.
Yeah, me too. So, kind of the same as Sammy, really. It's just looking at like resources that you don't really consider when you first start off.
Yeah.
You start to consider them a lot as you progress through your like college education. But one thing I really want to stress is making sure that you take advantage of like your federal aid if you do have it. When I was in college, I didn't know that my Pell Grant would actually cover my book expenses until my sophomore year. And that was it was like, oh my God, I didn't have to spend that much money.
I have to say that book advances, like opt in to your book advance. If you don't know that, or if this is your first semester, your first year, when you get your financial aid package and you go in to accept your Pell Grants, you also have to opt into a book advance as well. That allows them to send you a portion of your money prior to the beginning of the semester for you to buy all of your textbook materials, any other materials for your classes, as well as, you know, notebooks, folders, anything to prep you for the semester. So make sure you're opted in, because I also didn't know my first semester. And then it was like, okay, I'll buy it, and then I'm going to get my refund check, which is going to cover that, right? Reimburse me. But then when I found out I had to opt in, it was like, gosh, you know, I have money, and I could, you know, go and buy all my stuff prior to, and do that. And then I also, the first thing I would do, like my first few semesters, would go to the bookstore and buy all of my books there, you know, brand new. If they had rentals, I would do the rentals. If they had used versions, I would buy the used versions. But there was some classes where I had to buy them brand new, but it wasn't as well until maybe my third semester working actually at EMCC that one of my like coworkers was like, oh, well, why don't you check Amazon? I'm like, what do you mean check Amazon? And she's like, no, they do book rentals, and it's like more than half the price half the time. And so I would start doing that. That would be my first option. And usually I would buy all of my books or rent them from there. But there were some books that I did end up wanting to keep afterwards that are like, I still have them to this day and I'll refer back to them. And sometimes making that purchase, like to keep it forever, is a good idea. So looking at your different options. So it's like Amazon Prime is one of them. You've talked about PDF files, like finding them or PDF versions of them, as well as I used to use Slug Books, which is like a website that allows you to like comb through the internet and find like all the different options, and then you can compare and contrast the costs. So I would use that a lot too. But I always think of Sammy as like, look up a PDF, like find the PDF, or also your library as well. It should have the textbook they should have the textbook that you're using for a class. You can go take it and you can scan it because you have the ability to go scan and print out things for free to a certain extent, right? Throughout the semester or throughout the academic year. So utilizing your resources in that way. Your library's there for a reason. Use it.
For the library, I think they have like a 3-hour hold. You can use it. Stay in the library. If you want to read it, read it. But if you want to take it home, you can't. But you can use their scanners that are available there.
Yes. Yes. So also prepping for this semester, it's like looking at your classes, because I would remember, especially if I had like math classes or science classes, those were my weakest suit. I would always like prep time for me to be in the tutoring center. How often did you guys use the tutoring center? Because I was in there
quite often. Quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and chemistry don't get along. So
yeah,
I was in there
a lot.
like a lot. Like I would go in there, do my homework for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But for an hour, I would be there with the tutor. And a lot of people don't know that we offer it
free
for free. Yeah.
Free tutoring. And then also you don't have a time limit to be in there. And you don't have to have an assignment or questions for your tutors as well. You can just sit there and do your work if you just need a quiet place to study. So, and then if you do end up needing help, it's as simple, at least at EMCC, it's putting up the cone and then they would come and then they would assist you, let you go, and then you can continue working. So yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, I think that goes into a point that I think is really important to stress is like utilizing those resources at your campus that are available to you. A lot of students, even I, like my first year, I was so scared to go to like a writing center or go to like a tutoring center or even to like book an appointment with advising. But it's so important that you do those things and that you introduce yourself to those resources so that later on when you do need that help, you know who to go to, you know where to go. Yeah. So
Great mission.
I don't think I would have set foot in a tutoring center unless I was like, had I not been told by an instructor, you have to go in there for extra credit. And I was like, this changed my life because I'm in there now for fun and I'm doing all my work in between like my classes and then also like my work schedule. I would just go in there, sit and wait until one or the other popped up and then I would go. And I got a lot of work done. Like
even seeing other people just working motivates you.
Yeah, it does. Your environment does matter. So keep that in mind too, especially if you're taking online classes. I would say don't let that deter you from taking the time to go on campus and utilize the free resources that you have and the environment as well. Because it's, like sitting and seeing other people doing their work, you're like,
your tuition's paying for it too.
Yes.
That's something I hear all the time. Your tuition is paying for it. So why not take advantage of the tutoring center, the writing center, going and like using other services like the career services. I would use, I worked there, but I used it a lot too. And I saw a lot of students use it a lot more than I expected. So utilizing those resources, prepping for the semester also involved a lot of advising. So I would always be in advising, like at least twice a semester, every semester. But I need to make sure I was on top of everything. How often were you in advising?
For mine, since I chose nursing, I kind of went in one time and then I asked my advisor, hey, how can I graduate by this time? And then she gave me a timeline.
Yes.
And then basically I had to meet with the nursing advisor and then that's when I went onto my way. But honestly, I suggest students go like twice a year.
Yes.
Because you don't want to be taking classes that don't match with your major.
Yes. Or you're in a situation where they're like, we actually changed this and you actually have to take this extra class. And then that's going to add another maybe semester or two to your, you don't want to be caught in that. So going frequently is really important and also asking for a degree check sheet. So that's another thing that would prep me a lot too. Picking classes got a lot easier when I realized that they offer degree check sheets for you to have and then you can just go off the list and, pick them yourself. And then going to an advisor would not just be like, can you pick out the classes for me? It'd be like, am I taking the right ones? And it feels really empowering knowing that like, okay, it's in my hands and I have the knowledge of like what's coming up. I can prep more than just my semester. I could prep a few semesters in advance.
Yeah.
And then seeing that some classes are only given in fall, only spring. So preparing for that too, knowing if you have 2 years left, knowing that you can take it probably in your first year or your second year, or some even need prereqs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about going into the classroom. If you're taking classes in person, things are different now because like online is like even bigger than what it was.
It's a lot more prominent.
Yes, definitely. And like going into the classroom and like making your space in there is like one thing. But like what would help me a lot is, especially if I was going to be taking classes with professors that I was going to see throughout the entirety of my academic journey, building a relationship with them. And like, they're not just an instructor. So going and making that introduction with them, how would you guys go about that?
I introduced myself, told them my major, and kind of asked them a little bit about themselves and their background. And then that kind of started a partnership in the classroom. But other than that, that's kind of how I took a communications course back in 2020. And I introduced myself to the professor, and she basically asked like, why are you taking this class? I'm like, well,
I need it for my major.
And
it's on my check sheet.
It's on my check sheet. And also nurses speak to each other. So also that's what I told her as well. So just get to know them too. More as a person.
What about online? Like, did you ever take any classes online that you did that in June for?
Yes, I did. So I actually TA'd for an online course with an online teacher that I had. And the way I got that position was literally emailing her.
Yeah.
And I say in person too. Sometimes it's really intimidating to go up to a professor and say, hey, I'm so-and-so. So even if you just want to send over an email first and then go to like, in person afterwards, it helps break the ice, I think.
It goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
You never know. Like we were saying earlier, like it can turn into like that rapport that you built with that instructor can turn into a reference for a job. Like they could come to you or you can ask them and they could be like, oh yeah, actually there's this opportunity I just heard about. Here, let me give you the contact information. It could also turn into like them writing you a letter of recommendation, not just for a job, but if you need it for a scholarship or if you need it for applying to like a university or just anything really. Like it's good to have that like rapport with them. I have instructors that like it's been years since I've seen them in the classroom setting, but we keep in touch with each other. We have each other on Facebook because like that's where, you go to Facebook, that's like your like contact list now. And you kind of keep up with them and seeing them where they're at now. And then them also seeing you, like I'm still getting congratulated, like, oh, congratulations on this new thing. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Like you were so great in the class. And it feels really nice because they weren't just an instructor at the end of the day, especially if you see them frequently like that. For the couple of teachers that I do have that relationship with, they're teachers that I started my like intro to design all the way until like drafting and like hand lettering and everything from semester 1 to like I was in school for like 6 semesters, I want to say. So from the beginning to the very end, and it's like bittersweet, but you have them and you have that rapport. And I can always go back to them too. With introductions are very important.
They are.
Yes.
Like I said, I TA'd, and the professor that I TA'd for, she's part of the reason I got this job, actually. She was, one of my references for sure. So that goes to show you, it really does go a lot further than you think it will.
Any other last minute tips that you guys can think of? I think that was good, like prep wise. That's what I would do. You kind of go like you learn as you go. I was speaking with a student and I was telling her, don't even worry. She's like, what do I bring on the first day of class? And I was like, bring a pencil, a notebook, and your laptop. If you have your syllabuses or syllabi, you'll be good. But that's all you'll need. And then as you go, you're going to realize, okay,
you're going to figure it out.
It's going to come natural. So just make sure that you are just present in there.
I do have one more tip. They can always meet with us too.
That's true. That is, we're here. We're definitely here. Please make your appointments with us. And we will definitely help you if you do have questions. We'll give you more tips and tricks and just answer whatever it is that you need help with, translate whatever information you receive from other departments and resources. We can help you figure it all out and navigate it as well. So Well, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope we get to do another one together soon. And I hope you guys enjoyed this segment, and we'll see you on the next Consejo de mis Coaches. Bye.
Bye.